Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Gaming Life 200 from repaved super speedway version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. My name is David Westergreen. Joining me tonight, as always, are David Huckleberry producing and Zach Evans, my co-broadcaster. Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell will lead us to the green. This thing happens quick at this Super Speedway Atlanta. Pace car already off as these drivers form up and get ready to do 130 laps. Green flag is out. Tate Lytle gets on the loud pedal. He and Tyler Fode drafting to the line, but it's Ethan Burrell that gets to that start-finish line first in the 37 car. He'll have help from Nick and Delicato up top.
And right off the bat, you'll see these cars drafting away. But you also saw there at the very back of the picture, Ryan Gable, starting from pit road, had an issue getting into his car for the start of the race. He'll be lucky to catch the tail of this draft at the start here. Could be a tough night for Ryan Gable if he doesn't get quick yellow.
Tyler Fode looking to the outside as we roll around. We'll keep our eye on Ryan Gable. This is very much a drafting track, just like Talladega, just like Daytona. It'll be easy for Ryan Gable to lose the pack if he is not in the draft, and I believe he will not be. He is well off the back of the field right now. Ethan Burrell trying to get that outside line going, but it's all Tate Lytle up front. He leads lap one. Tyler Fode, Nick and Delicato, and Andrew Rucker following in single file on the bottom.
That's another thing with Atlanta compared to your Daytona or Talladega. I'm not saying you won't see it, but it's going to be a lot harder to make.
Oh,
well,
like right here.
That. Oh boy, yeah, that was a close moment there. I believe that was Jeff Green that was looking to the side of Andrew Rucker and had thoughts of three wide, but ultimately had to back out of it after the contact between those two cars. But that was kind of right on cue. I don't know how much we're going to see that three wide racing here tonight. And some of the drivers are starting to talk about, what they're seeing, what they're feeling as far as those tires. And, we've got one car just got shoved through the grass. I see Michael Goodman is on track. I think everybody stayed straight there, but Michael Goodman and somebody else were involved in that, did not bring out the yellow. I don't think anybody ever actually hit anything solid, but definitely a scary moment out of turn 4 that time. And there's what happened, a little bit of contact with Justin Vandermarl. Goody's trying to save it, and that's where can't quite make out who that was.
Jordan Owens
that almost got doored onto pit road there. But and he eventually takes the detour through the grass. I think as long as he so he stayed to the right of the commitment cone, he should be fine. I'm sure any penalties would have been cleared regardless, but there shouldn't be any work for Robert Hill and race control to do with that one. Oh, and they're a little bit further back. They were three wide as part of.
They're still three wide. They're wrecking. They're wrecking, but they might not cause a caution now. Josh Clark's getting spun by the 20 on the apron. Yellow flag is thrown.
Now the caution is out.
Oh, they're wrecking big. Nick Massey's involved. And so I'm pretty sure I know what happened here. And there was a spinning car on the racetrack, and our race control admins just do not have the capability to throw a yellow when a yellow is warranted, and looks like a yellow was warranted and one was unable to be thrown as Josh Robin hits the wall a ton. I can't believe they caution it and throw.
Yeah, Josh Robin undoubtedly is broken at that point. But then we also have this going on. That's Mike DeWalt and Josh Clark coming together. I almost said Josh Adams. We have about 13 Joshes here in Elite. So Josh spins, but he's out of harm's way. But here's a broken Josh Robin, who is now spun in the middle of the racetrack, and Nick Massey's got to hit him a ton.
Yeah, that is a terrible break for Nick Massey. And if anyone is qualified to speak on this, it might be me, because I did this in one of our Grand National races one time, where sometimes iRacing just doesn't provide a caution flag when one is warranted for a car stopped on the racetrack, and Josh Robin should have been cautioned out there, and
can we go on board with the 48 there?
there's just nowhere to go when that happens. You come up on it so quickly, and the car's out in front of you, move out of the way. How can you react?
See, that's what I'm wondering. A, how much was his view obstructive of the incident? And B, I mean, frankly, Nick Massey with that kind of
Oh my goodness
paint scheme. There was a little bit of camouflage going on too. Nick Massey, I don't think ever saw that there was an issue, and without the yellow flag to indicate there was a car in the middle of the racetrack, I'm not sure at any point until here he realized he was in trouble.
Oh my goodness. Feel terrible for Nick Massey too. That's just, it's not the way you want to go out in a race like this. And Massey had been hanging out behind the pack. He was actively trying not to get involved in a wreck, and winds up maybe the first car out of this race. And Jonathan Cutlip will be on the loud pedal early. He goes and gets a fairly sizable jump on Nick Indelicato and Josh Adams behind him. We'll see whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing as Cutlip rolls top and then drops down to the red line. The outside lane building energy in front of Jonathan Cutlip. What will he do? He blocks up the racetrack. Adams had to get out of it, and that almost stacked the outside lane up. I'll keep us abreast of what's going on at the front of the field. It's still Tate Lytle, Tyler Fode, Josh Adams, and Ethan Stanley. Here's the incident in question. Ooh, looks like Hunter Smith got into Scott Crump.
Yep. Contact there between those two guys, and fortunately it looks like Crump is able to gather it up there.
Did Jordan Owens go across the grass again?
Jordan Owens is going to be on the Atlanta Motor Speedway payroll by the end of tonight, I fear.
As a lawnmower, right? Yeah. That's almost the exact same track he took last time. And Owens, again, unscathed, and he might even be in a better spot now. He might not get wrapped up in any wrecks.
I believe he may have gained a couple of spots from that for sure. But I'm sure he'd also really like to stop having to do that.
Yeah. I think he would prefer to be on the racetrack for all of his circuits tonight. Gordon Mowens, there you go.
Oh, Robert, that's a good one. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a really good one.
That might stick for a little while.
Sorry to cut you off, Zach.
That's way up at the front of the field there. Chad Frankenfield.
Josh Adams.
Justin Wadsworth is on the outside, but he's got to get clear of the wide there. Oh, hip check into the wall for Dustin Dewar.
And Chad Frankenfield. That's a wreck waiting to happen. Ethan Burrell is in this mix in the middle of the racetrack. Right now it's Chad Frankenfield all by himself in the middle of the track. Now he's going to have some help. Jeff Green.
And Nick Indelicato in front of them. This has turned into 3x3x3. I don't like this a bit.
No, this isn't what you want to see. If you're one of these guys up at the front, you're definitely hoping these guys can keep it together, especially if you're in the middle of this pack. I just don't know if there's anywhere to go to get out of a wreck on this small field. Oh, Gerald and Chad make contact in turn 2.
Still 3 wide back here. Richie Hearn might have gotten a piece of the wall there going through the dog leg.
Coming to the stage here, this lap, end of this lap, it's going to be Tyler Fode and Tate Lytle versus Josh Adams. I think Tyler's going to take it right here to the bottom of the racetrack. There goes Tyler Fode going for the stage point. Will he get the push from Tate Lytle? He will not. Josh Adams is going to win the stage.
There you have it. Josh Adams, and also you see Josh Clark, Kyle Hanshaw, Josh Robin, Nick Massey 6 laps down at a super speedway track. They will be parked for the evening, and these guys are catching a slow car as well.
3 wide again.
Another 3 wide. Here comes.
Oh, they're going to wreck Chad and Richie.
Richie Hearn in the wall.
There it is. Caution is out. Let's see if anybody gets collected. Rucker gets collected.
In it.
Hibbs, I think, is going to get involved. Which, I mean, color me shocked, am I right? After him nearly winning last week at Bristol.
So we'll see what happens here on the Mark Rebellis replay machine, but I think it's going to be a case of Richie Hearn runs the 15 into the wall, and now everybody's got to pile in behind that. Nick Indelicato gets a piece. There's
Hibbs.
Gavin Hibbs. There's Andrew Rucker with a little assistance from Michael Goodman, I do believe.
Ooh.
Well, another tough break for a lot of those drivers who need a good run tonight.
Yep, Chad Frankenfield doesn't gonna get. Well, it's gonna be Richie Hearn getting the tally on this one.
Oh,
Gerald
yeah.
Campbell got knocked sideways by Ryan Schuld, but a good job avoiding. And you saw he's on the screen right there on the far left of your screen. That is Jordan Owen. He was a lap down. He dodged the wreck, did not get involved. That car will be back on the lead lap. Here. Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley, Lake Norman Motorsports teammates on the front row. Into the restart zone. Green flag is out, and Tyler Fode with a big jump on Dusty Dewar. Dewar with a pretty bad start, if I'm being honest. The front three have jumped away, and the field a little bit spread out behind him.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a disjointed restart. That's going to allow Josh Adams to jump up to the high side, and Dustin Dewar's going to say, well, all right, then I'll go to the bottom. I'll push Ethan Stanley. A little bit of a shuffle at the front of the field. Tyler Fode leading the way.
And Adams with a big block on that 32 car to try and get in line behind Tyler Fode up there at the front. Jonathan Cutlip, Trey Holmes, and Justin Vandermarl, all three fueled up racing Chevrolets lined up 3, 4, 5 on that outside lane. Very impressive run by Vandermarl and Holmes to get up there right behind Cutlip. Same as it was up front, and that was a big incident.
Yeah, so they're 3 wide here, and I don't think Chris realized it. Comes down into, I believe that's Gavin Hibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
scatter underneath.
Yep, I think it looks like everybody else stays out of it.
Yep. I think we're good. But Stouffer nearly triggering a bigger crash than it was.
He'll want to drop down in front of Trey Holmes and get those cars hooked up again. But right now, it's the bottom side with the momentum.
Yep, big run by Trey. Oh, Trey got turned sideways by Cutlip.
He's good. He's got it through the grass. It's obviously going to hurt him a ton. He's going to have to join this second group if he can. I don't know if he's going to be able to.
He might join the third group. Either way, it's not a wrecked car, and Trey Holmes may yet be able to make his way back to the front, but a very disappointing result. And, man, I don't think I've ever seen my announcer jinx work quite that quickly. Gold jumped 3 wide and caught Tate in the left rear and sent him into the wall.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to.
Oh, they're going to wreck on the back straightaway. Justin Fortner gets spun to the inside. Didn't catch who he took down there with him. Big break for Trey Holmes, as we mentioned, as well as a number of other guys that ended up way off the back of the field. Tyler Fode still retains the lead. It's Josh Adams, Vandermarl, and Matthew Weeks, the top 4. Let's take a look at what happened on the Rebel S replay cam. Oh, it started way up more in the front.
Yeah, it starts with Ethan Stanley getting into Jonathan Cutlip. Now they're got to check up. And Dustin Dewar kind of gets a little out of shape with Scott Crump, and that collects Justin Fortner. Just kind of one of those domino effects you could see there. Fortner is locked up, but the car just wouldn't stop, and it slides right into the path of Michael Goodman.
Oh, Goody.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Goody because, I mean, like I say, you could tell from the front wheels, the brakes were locked up for Justin Fortner, and the car just did not stop in time.
Yeah, and, oh, man. Goody sees Rucker jump to the outside, but I think someone was side-by-side with Goody at that point. And disappointing for sure. for Michael Goodman. He had worked his way up pretty well, but he had been kind of falling back for that. He was running in the second pack, just did not have time to check up for the car sliding back up the track in front of him. Tyler Fode, not one of those young Venoms. He's up here at the front of the field with Josh Adams on the front row. Green flag is out through the restart zone, and Tyler Fode will choose whichever lane he prefers here in turn one. Got a big jump on the rest of the field.
This just in, David Westergreen calling Tyler Fode an old fart. Nevertheless, Fode out front on the restart. Justin Vandermarle in second. Justin Wadsworth up to third. I think that's about as high as we've seen that 6 car tonight.
Vandermarle and Wadsworth now working in behind Tyler Fode. Vandermarle not a Lake Norman Chevrolet. Wadsworth and Stanley both are. So is Scott Crump right behind Ethan Stanley. So a bunch of Lake Norman Chevrolets out here on the bottom of the racetrack. I think they're going to try to get in front of Justin Vandermarle and try and line up 1, 2, 3 here on the bottom.
Josh Adams kind of trapped in the middle at the moment. He might have an escape here to the high side unless Seth Rawls fills the hole.
There was a near incident on the back straightaway. Gerald Campbell got squirrely, and it stacks the whole field up. Now here goes Campbell rolling through the grass. He's not going to save it. They're going to wreck. Josh Adams, Jesse Racimus, Chad Frankenfield involved.
Huge wreck.
Seth Rawls, Andrew Rucker. David Tooker's got a ton of damage in the 19 car. Last week's winner, Justin Wadsworth, has damage.
That might have actually been 2 or 3 separate incidents happening at the same time. We'll have to see on the replay. There's the first one I saw. Gable.
Oh, yeah, there was 2 incidents.
Harold Campbell, but there's something happening. Yeah, this is...
Oh, man.
So there's Racimus in the wall. There's Gavin Hibbs and Seth Rawls coming together. Rawls comes down the track and collects Chad Frankenfield. This was just almost like a shotgun shell going off, honestly.
Yeah, got a bunch of different people. Ethan Burrell has requested a onboard, and here we are on board with the Pro Edge number 37. Spinning in front. Rucker's going to go run into his teammate. Racimus goes flying by. There goes Wadsworth down and hits into Mike DeWalt. Gavin Hibbs also collected in this.
Oh, you can see the left rear was not turning on the Gavin Hibbs machine as Burrell went by.
Not what you want. You know, you prefer all 4 tires turning on your race car.
I mean, there were a lot of good cars that got collected in this. I mean, there you see.
Oh, there goes Hunter Smith.
Involved. Yep. Johnny Thomas looks like he sneaked through.
So too did Ray Bracey in the 7. I believe so did Jordan Owens in the 16. Brent Jones, I think, was going to sneak through.
Gerald Campbell might have gotten lucky that he got booted to the grass right off the jump because it kind of got him out of harm's way here.
Yeah, I think he did. That was contact from Gable that got Gerald loose, but Gerald had been out of control for a lap or so here before this ever occurred.
Yeah, you could tell he was checking up, and then he goes for a slide here, but kind of in all of that, he didn't get hit by Chad Frankenfield when he got collected. He didn't end up having to dodge everybody on the racing surface. He might be really happy with Ryan Gable right now. Go here.
25 to go. Coming 225 to go for Justin Vandermarle on the bottom of the racetrack. He's surrounded by Lake Norman Chevrolets. It's Scott Crump up at the top of the racetrack, and then behind him it's Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fode. Green flag is out for Vandermarle. He gets a big jump. We've seen that not be terribly useful tonight, but it does let you choose which lane you want to be in. Here in turn 1, Trey Holmes already 3 wide, bullying his way to the middle of the racetrack. In the back of the field, but up front, it's going to be those Lake Norman Chevys as Stanley and Fode jump to the outside.
And it was a jump to the outside with Ethan Stanley leading the way. Big move to get alongside Justin Vandermarle here. Now they've got to get hooked up and see if they can push themselves out front.
Yeah, here we go. Now it's time for the teamwork to get into effect as there go the Lake Norman Chevrolets.
Oh,
1, 2, 3 up top.
Wide further back. We've got Chris Stouffer in the wall. I think they're going to keep it straight, but that was a very scary moment.
Leighton Norgard, Gerald Campbell, now the ones in the middle of the racetrack. Up front, Scott Crump jumped to the bottom to block off the run by Jeff Green. He might end up with the race lead because of that. Crump working to the bottom of the racetrack. He's got drafting help from the non-Lake Norman Chevrolets. Now Green moves to the middle, and Justin Vandermarl through on the bottom.
Boy, oh boy, we are done playing around now. All the gloves are coming off. The cards are going on the table. 3-wide racing all over. We're still a good ways from. Look at that huge move.
No, can is Matthew Weeks. He jumps up in front of Ethan Stanley. They all line up right there. Oh, Cutlip's going to be in the fence. A lot of visual damage. Don't know if that really wrecked anything. Fody now it gets shuffled to the bottom by Cutlip. Oh, Scott Crump got turned by Vandermarl. They're going to wreck the whole field. No, they didn't. It's just Crump. What was that? I don't think I've ever seen a car get sideways. The leader gets sideways in front of the whole field and not wad up 10 cars. It's just Scott Crump.
Boy, I'm going to be very curious to see this replay here. See them both aggressively move to the bottom.
Crump was, Vandermarl at that point was inside of Crump. And
is he though?
Yeah, well, he was not clear, but I think Crump phased through the 9, and that kept the 9 from spinning down the track into other cars and collecting the rest. So Chris Wright should be thanking his lucky stars. Vandermarl, I don't think Vandermarl had been drafting with Crump. I don't think Vandermarl was really, because he had been blocked. I don't think he was trying to continue on and make a pass. I think he just caught the 90 at the wrong spot there. I think he will get the tally. Depends on what race control Robert Hill says, but that's my thought.
Man, that's...
We are very fortunate to have not wadded up 15 cars.
That should have been a huge wreck.
Vandermarl goes up the track and puts Stanley in the wall. But yeah, because Wright ends up not turned by hitting the 90, it keeps Weeks straight, it keeps Burrell straight. I'm willing to bet Vandermarl and Crump unhappy at one another over the radio at this point.
You would be correct.
Yeah, and Scott Crump definitely not having the best of years, was looking for a race win here. Feels like he got spun around. Obviously, no ruling from Robert Hill just yet, but here's the visual of Chris Wright phasing through the 90, and obviously not something you can do in real life, but definitely something that can happen here on iRace. As Ethan Stanley leads them down here.
What is Chad doing?
Not sure, but we're gonna chalk that up to he's heading to pit road, and Ethan Stanley's gonna get us going to the green flag here. Stanley with a big jump on the field. We've seen it from the leader a number of times tonight. Vandermarl's got a huge push from Matthew Weeks right here. That outside line's really wound up. This field a little bit separated. I think there's some damaged cars holding back a few different rows. Up front, Justin Vandermarl down the back straightaway with a big push from Matthew Weeks. Clears by Ethan Stanley. Move the 80 car back to the point. Trey Holmes is 3 wide again. Those fueled up cars, they came to race tonight, I'll tell you what. Justin Vandermarl's up front. Trey Holmes is looking 3 wide on the 2 of Jeff Green, and there you go. Chad Frankenfield is retired from the race. That's why he heads down pit road. And still blow one out.
It's a gift.
Oh, 3 wide. Oh. 3 wide for second. Nick Indelicato to the top of the racetrack. That's going to help out Trey Holmes, who's already running up there. Vandermarl going to try to pull the middle and the top lane, but it's going to be Indelicato up top, I think, with the run. Yep, Vandermarl's now middle 3, but Indelicato in the wall. Looks like the finish
man.
of the spring Atlanta race here in the Cup Series. Oh, Vandermarl got turned by Weeks. Big crash in the front straightaway. Caution flag is out.
Oh, this is a
Gable,
bunch.
Hosack.
Campbell, Brent Jones, Casey Hatch is in it, Wadsworth, Fody,
Oh, my goodness.
Rucker, Stouffer. Good luck. It's easier to say who isn't in that one, I'm afraid.
Who is not in it? Ethan Stanley is not in it. Nick and Delicato not. Holmes not. Vandermarl not. Cutlip is not. All three of the field up cars not in it. Chris Wright made it through. Mark Robilas made it through.
So it looks like they get kind of just tangled up in this middle group here, right where you see Justin Vandermarl, Matthew Weeks. There it goes. And then they kind of wash into Tyler Fody. And now there's just cars everywhere there. You see Scott Crump is involved in that one. Justin Fortner.
Hunter Smith, Casey Hatch.
Yeah.
Owen sneaks his way through.
What a night he's had. He got a few more lawn clippings on his way through, but
check it out, even the pace car gets involved.
Brent Jones was almost through that and just barely got clipped by Ryan Gable. Michael Hossack was kind of checked up and then kind of locked it up under brakings. I think Mike DeWalt gets through this.
Here comes the pace car.
I've been told to get Ray Bracey's POV on this one as well.
Well, Justin Fortner's going to want to see that POV because he kind of got doored by Ray Bracey on the way through, but it does look like Bracey made it through, at least for his part, unscathed. We'll see.
DeWalt also had a really good view of this, but oh man. And almost gets hit by the spinning car
almost got by, I think that was Gerald Campbell at the last minute. That's probably when Ray had to move slightly to the left. I think that's when he may have gotten into Justin Fortner at that last minute trying to get around. Here's Mike DeWalt's perspective in the number 20 car, another Rookie of the Year contender.
Wadsworth nowhere to go, Fody nowhere to go. Norgard found his way through this thing. Norgard's going to be 9th. Watching the aerial view once again. What Scott Crump pile into Justin Wadsworth right here, by the way. Lake Norman on Lake Norman violence right there.
Even more Lake Norman violence coming up.
Yeah, I think he runs into Tyler Fody right after. Campbell wrecked, Weeks wrecked.
Crump just needed to go find Gable, and he got all of them.
Mm-hmm. A tough night for Lake Norman Motorsports. Ethan Stanley, the race leader. Nick and Delicato to his outside. Then it's a fueled up party behind. Into the restart zone. Green flag for Ethan Stanley. A big jump for Hean and Delicato. And Delicato keeping that 91 car close. A really good restart by that outside lane.
Off they go into turn 1. Gerald Campbell already looking at that high side. Couldn't quite make it work, but I think there are some willing participants back there. Jeff Green looks like he might be willing to give that.
It's going to rack him. Yep, Robilas. Yeah, that was not going to work at no point. They trying to force 3 wide where there would be no 3 wide happening on that one. Unfortunately, it's Chris Wright that gets spun out and collected. Jeff Green was involved. Mark Robilas obviously taken out. I think Jeff got antsy because Gerald tried to take him 3 wide, and Chris was a little bit further back. And as soon as Jeff moved down the track, he just caught and pulled the 96, the car around right in front of him. Got Tyler Fody in there as well. Fortner gets Josh Personette, who had been up into the top 15. Oh, and Hosack's going to get into the 9. Nick and Delicato, the race leader now, with Justin Vandermarl to his outside. The fueled up Chevys are teamed up on the top lane, and Delicato and Stanley teamed up on the bottom. Pace car is off. Green flag is out. Delicato goes right at the start of the restart zone. That'll try to pull Ethan Stanley clear of the fueled up cars. I don't think he's going to get clear and be able to move to the top. He might.
And not only were they not able to get clear from the bottom, I think the fueled up cars had at least considering dropping to the bottom, and they couldn't do that either. Jonathan Cutlip, which just...
There they go. As Rucker just bounced it off the fence. And here, oh, big late block by Indelicato on Vandermarl. Vandermarl gives Indelicato a shot up the hill. Here comes the 80 of Vandermarl.
Vandermarl almost certainly to the lead. No help there for Nick Indelicato for now.
Fueled up 1, 2, 3. 2 laps to go. Fueled up 1, 2, 3. Justin Vandermarl, Trey Holmes tandeming out front. Jonathan Cutlip leading the bottom lane. Indelicato up top behind. Josh Adams just bounced it off the fence. No caution. Still green here at Atlanta. They're coming around for the white flag. Stanley looking to the top of the racetrack on Indelicato. They'll make contact.
If somebody from this second pack has got to do something, they've got to form a run. They've got to make it happen fast. White flag is out here at Atlanta, and it's a 2-car breakaway out front.
Jordan Owens is the one making a run. In the 16 car, he's to the bottom of Ethan Stanley and Ryan Schold. Up front, here comes Mike DeWalt pushing Jonathan Cutlip.
Yeah, they got out of shape down the backstretch. Cutlip had a run, but now they're kind of disjointed. I don't know. I think it's got to be between these two fueled up cars.
Trey Holmes looking as they rack behind. Trey Holmes is not going to get it done. It's Justin Vandermarl winning at Atlanta. Behind him, across the line, it is Jonathan Cutlip, Ray Bracey, Johnny Thomas. What a top 5. Oh, man.
Time winner in the Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series, Justin Vandermarl.
That is a podium sweep for Fueled Up Racing. The first top 5 finish for Ray Bracey and his team, South Shore Racing. And that's another top 5 finish for Johnny Thomas. Chris Stouffer's going to come home 6th. Ryan Schold's going to come home 7th. Gerald Campbell's going to cross 8th. Jordan Owens still picks up the top 10 in 9th. Ethan Stanley winds up 10th. Mike DeWalt was, 4th coming off of turn 4? He finishes 15th. Can we, Dave, as we watch Vandermarl celebrate, can we get a last lap shot here, please? My goodness. There's Scott Crump joining in on the celebration. I'm sure that's all positive. We need to watch the 5 and the 20, I believe, as well. Because that's where the wreck happened, was them catching Jonathan Cutlip and Mike DeWalt. So it's Campbell into the back of Owens, and it turns Owens up the track and into DeWalt. Look at Ray Bracey jump to the bottom, 6 wide to clear through there for 4th spot, and there they go sliding across the line. And a gigantic pile up behind. That's about right. That's about exactly how this race was going to end.